What's up, Facebook family? How y'all doing out there? Relationship Tuesdays, Obina and Belinda Indu here with Covenant Marriage Academy. And we're excited to be sharing with you all today. We worked out our technical difficulties so that we don't have them anymore. Yes, sir. Good stuff, man. Hey, listen, last week we did the Q&A Tuesday, and it went so well, we actually decided to do it again because we had so many more questions that were unanswered from last week. So we decided to go ahead and dive in here again with that. And we're excited for you all to be here to join us today. So again, tag your friends, share this on your page. We'll be live for the next 45 minutes to an hour or so. And we want to make sure that all the questions get answered. So please go ahead and post your questions in the comment field. We will take them live today. So this is not rehearsed. My wife sent me some questions over. I just looked at them and closed the page. I haven't even read the questions, really. So we're literally going to let God use us today to bless you. And so, again, I can't say this enough. Tag your friends. Share this on your personal page. Encourage your family and friends to also post their questions in the comments area so that we can answer them today. We're excited for who and how many people will be changed in terms of their lives tonight. So I will go ahead and turn it over to my beautiful wife, and she'll go ahead and toss up the questions here. So, honey, floor's all yours.
All right. Well, the first question, welcome again, guys. But the first question is for you, my love.
Oh.
I want to know, how much do you miss me? And do you love me?
And do I want you?
Do you love me?
Okay, so she put me on the spot in front of I don't even know how many people. So even if my answer was I don't miss you and no, I'm not going to say that because I have to go to bed at night.
Be honest.
I'm going to be honest. I'll be honest, babe. I got to lay next to you and I don't want to keep one eye open. You know what I mean? But anyway, of course I love you, baby, and I miss you. She's down in Florida, you guys, and I'm out here in Georgia with the kids. So that's why you see us doing this interview style setup today. So yes, baby, I miss you. And I'm excited that I get to share this moment in time with you, with so many other people across the world.
I just, one thing I wanted to share with them before we got into it is just some of the little things that we've been doing to stay connected. One of them is we got a devotional while we're away from each other. And although we haven't done it every day, which we need to catch up, babe, but we're doing that to definitely stay connected. And I am doing my best to be intentional about sharing with you how much I appreciate and I love you. Because although I'm not there, I want my presence to be felt. So I love you again.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome, my love. Okay, so the first question, I believe we may have asked that one. Okay, I'm sorry, one moment.
No worries.
Now, should you have a relationship with your exes when you're married?
No. Well, so again, this is one of those that's really, I think it's specific to the couple and who you are. But if you want our opinion, since you did ask us, the way we govern our situation is the answer is no. They are called exes for a reason. Ex means past, not present, not future. X behind you. So that's where we leave them, in the rearview mirror. So I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. And but of course, there's so many reasons why you don't want to have any type of temptation. And here's the irony of the temptation too. It's interesting. My wife and I have actually been in this position where we may have had a, as Carlos Spencer would say, a heated fellowship, right? We had an argument, a fight, some kind of debate on something. And I'll never forget the first time I experienced this. I hadn't talked to my ex in years. And my wife and I had this situation show up in our life. And so I walked out to get some air. As soon as I closed the door, phone rings. You know who it was? The ex. Now, what if I had kept that relationship, if you will? Now, of course, there was nothing going on. But what if we just were just friends, right? What if that was the case? That would have been a very convenient moment for an emotional attachment to begin, then emotional cheating, and then before you know it, you move into other types of funky things. So the answer is no. Just look, if you let a dog with fleas in the house, it's just a matter of time before everybody in the house has fleas. Enough said from me.
Yeah, absolutely, babe. I concur 100%. And I certainly, definitely believe. But you know what I find though, honey, is that so many people are in denial about that. And
Mhm.
it's almost like a taboo topic that, oh, well, if I can't be friends with my ex, then that means that I'm in a controlling relationship.
Right.
And yeah, it means that your relationship could possibly now be in control of God. And rather than yourself. The
Right.
thing is that we need to just stop playing games around our love and our passion. If we are going to be in a committed relationship with our spouses and in our marriage, I mean, you took an oath, you took a vow, you made a covenant that took death do you part, and that you will give to your spouse all those things. And if you've made a commitment that this is the person you're going to be with the rest of your for the rest of your life, and we're assuming that that's what you've decided because you guys are married, then I'm sorry, exes are not, no, because that's you are giving the enemy a foothold to come in and play with your mind, to play with your relationship, and to always compare your current to your ex. That's what he's going to do. And he keeps soul ties alive when you allow your exes to remain relevant in your life. And some of us are still allowing our exes to meet certain needs for us. That's why we don't want to let him go. So honestly, I think the main one of the main things, baby, is that we really have to realize, like, listen, stop playing games. If you're serious about your marriage, you're serious about your future, you're serious about your relationship, then your exes are in your past and let them stay there. And
Yep.
maybe some of you are involved in a relationship to where you're in a blended family and you have a child from your ex. That's great, but we'll get into how blended families should operate themselves as the husband and wife being the primary caregivers for the child. But at the same time, you have to understand that everything starts with you and your spouse. Everything should end and begin with you and your husband or you and your wife. So your childhood best friend, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm saying same opposite sex. It's just, who are we kidding? I'm not saying that you can't have friends of the opposite sex. We're in no way saying that. But if you've had an intimate sexual relationship with that person should not be involved in your marriage. You are playing with fire. So let's just keep it real here at Covenant Marriages Academy. We're going to tell you the truth because we love you and we want to see your marriage work.
That's
All
right.
right. Next question. Now, how soon do you become very transparent during the dating process?
Very transparent. I guess that's such a broad question.
It
Yeah, I guess I'll answer it in two parts, if you will.
is.
Of course, when you meet somebody, you always putting your best foot forward, your ambassador, your representative, who's there first, and so that's who's there for them as well as their representative. And so, yeah, that's the getting to know part, right? But I would say the sooner you can get to moving beyond the representatives, the better. So yeah, put your best foot forward, maybe on that first date, but by that getting into it, you don't want to waste time, in my opinion. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Look, there's 24 hours in the day. Rich people have 24 hours in a day. Poor people have 24 hours in a day. Successful relationships have 24 hours in a day. Bad relationships have 24 hours in a day. Here's my point. You don't get the time back. We figured out how to do a lot of things through technology, but we are yet to figure out how to get time back. So don't waste your valuable time on somebody that may not be the one. So why wait to be transparent 6 months from now to what you could have found out in the first 6 days? So be as transparent as early as possible.
Great answer, honey. I mean, yeah, definitely. And I live by this philosophy, and my husband understands that just as sweet as I am today, I'm sweet, right, babe? I'm sweet,
Sweet,
sweet.
like sugar, baby, like sugar.
I love you too, babe. This is the same way I was when we met. So we totally believe it start out how you can finish. Because who can remember who you were yesterday? No. Be consistent with who you are. And that's why it's so important that when you're doing that dating process, when you're doing that dating space to discover who you are, spend time getting to know who you are, getting a relationship with God, building a foundation for yourself. So number one, you can actually bring some value to the relationship. And number two, when you come, you're consistent with who you are being. And then, your best foot forward is actually who you actually are. So, I mean, yeah, I get it. You're not going to maybe do everything throughout the entire relationship that you've done because the emotions were high and you were excited and you were feeling some certain way in certain regions of your body. However, we're asking you to just when you're in a relationship and you're really serious about the relationship, then it's very important to start out how you can finish. If you know that if you go and it's your anniversary time, it's your 3-month anniversary time, and you want to go and buy a beautiful, lavish gift, and if you're not going to be doing that 10 years from now, then don't do it now. I'm just being honest. Find a happy medium, like celebrate every 6 months, or every year, but be consistent with whatever it is that you began. That way that you're, not saying that you can't grow and get better. Absolutely, you want to maintain a level of growth and consistency in your relationship, but keep in mind that don't put up a front, because when it goes away, the person's going to feel betrayed. They're going to think you lied. They're not going to trust you, and it's just totally not worth it. So just keep your best foot forward, which should be who you are and who you maintain yourself to be through Christ working in you.
Babe, you, if you don't mind me jumping in here, you said something a while back when we first got together that relates to this, and I never forgot it when you first said it to me, because I never thought of it that way, but it made so much sense. And what you said was, I'm not going to do anything that I can't sustain long term.
Right.
And I think that's the bottom line of what you're describing there. I think sustain is the key word. In today's society, we're quick fixes. We're a microwave society. Where spontaneity is a wonderful thing, but it has a place. And so I think a lot of times in relationships, what we do as people is we do things that feel good in that moment, and we commit to things that make the other person feel good in that moment, but we don't think about a year from now. We don't think about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Because here's the thing, the worst thing you can do is start something that you don't sustain, because now you cause the other person to live into a reality that is temporary, but in their mind, they're expecting it to be permanent. So the key word is sustain. And so that's what I would say is before you commit to anything, my wife will tell you, I take my time before I make the commitment. And it's because I know how important it is for me to make that commitment. So I take my time up front. Okay, honey, give me a day. All right, well, give me a second. And I mull it over because I'm thinking to myself, okay, can I actually do this for the rest of my life? Like, that's how I am. Or can I do this for the next 6 months or whatever it is, the sustaining time that I need to keep that up for. I ask myself that on almost every single decision, not just in my relationship, in my business, with my kids, with everything I do. I make sure, can I do this long term? Before I commit, I think it all out. Because sometimes we're in love with the idea.
Right.
We don't pay attention to what it takes to keep that idea up. And so take your time, and because here's the thing, my mentor used to say this to me about business, but it applies to relationships and everything. He said, make decisions quickly, but change them slowly. So here's what I did. I reversed that in my relationship. I make decisions slowly, and I don't change them quickly. Did you get that? So take your time and make the decision. And then also don't change it so quick, because see, in a relationship, if you constantly are changing, there's something at the foundation called trust that never gets established. In fact, the person starts to distrust you. They start to, man, this guy's flaky. Man, she's flaky. Yeah, she'll do that today, but see her next week. You don't even remember. No, you don't want that. You want trust. You want them to say, well, I know them. They're taking time because they this is how they do. They take their time and commit, and then they don't stop. And so that's how you want your relationship to be.
Yes, absolutely. Excellent point, baby. You complete me. All right. So we have a question from one of the viewers, And I kind of lost the question, but I remembered what it was. It actually said something like, okay, there was no cheating in the relationship, but he lost the marriage. The wife is basically to the point to where she's saying that she no longer wants the relationship. And basically, what should he do? There was no cheating, but there was other broken trust. There, you know. So how can he? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got it. Thank you. Okay. So my marriage is on the brink of divorce because I have hurt her in some ways. Never cheated, just broken trust. But I don't want to. I don't want a divorce. I want to work it out. But she is done. She says. May I go, babe, or would you like to?
Well, sure, baby. You go first.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, Jamel, I want to say this to you. You got a prayer team here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to war in prayer over this relationship. And one of the things that I think is so important for us all to realize before we go into solution for you, one of the things that I think is very important for us all to realize is that we will be forgiven on the level that we forgive. So I know that we have been hurt in some cases. I know that we have been tried. But if God allowed you to come to this thing, he also has the capacity to bring you through it. So it doesn't matter what it is your experience is right now. If what you are seeing is not what you've been shown, that means the story isn't over. Right. So first thing I would certainly encourage you to do is begin to love your spouse in the way that they've always wanted to be loved. One of the things I just to kind of paint your vision of what this looks like in a situation like this, an excellent movie that describes this process is Fireproof. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage you to get the movie Fireproof, watch it, watch the processes that they go through. Also pick up the journal. Certainly encourage you to pick up that journal and make a decision. I am going to commit to 40 days of prayer and working to serve my spouse. All the things. Now, see, only do it if you can be consistent with it. If you're not willing to be consistent with this and continue this throughout your relationship, she will never trust you again. So, believe me, I've seen it happen, right, babe? Over and over again. Yeah. Like you do it and they think that, okay, everything's going great. And then the spouse is like, oh my gosh, you're doing everything that I wanted you to do when we weren't together. And now that you're doing this, God is now working on my heart and I'm willing to give the relationship a chance. And as soon as the spouse came back, the guy defaulted back to who he was. And then she's like, okay, I'm done. Not again. So I certainly encourage you, Jamel, to get that book. Watch that movie. Watch it tonight if you can. I believe it's on Amazon. I'm sure it's called Fireproof. You can certainly find it online and commit to 40 days of loving and serving your spouse. And the key to this is do not expect anything in return. Through this process, you will learn what real agape love is about. That means praying for her every single day, serving her every single day. The things you did, repent of those things. The heart, just really watch the movie. You'll get some ideas. And if there's anything we can do, please feel free to inbox us. We'll be more than happy to pray with you and to help you through this process. Now, once you guys are back together, then we have a phase 2 for you, which I think will certainly serve your marriage because my husband and I have worked really, really hard to put together a 5-module video series that is exactly for this stage of your relationship once it's restored. So I can't wait to be updated, and I absolutely can't wait to get those video series to you guys' hands. So, honey, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely, and a great answer, babe. Let me say this. Brother, you just got the answer from the female perspective, which is awesome. So you got to kind of see how your wife may receive where you are coming from. Let me answer this question from a male perspective and how you should approach. God has given us courage Of course, women have these characteristics as well, but here's my, you got to stay with me, catch my point. He's given us courage and he's given us resilience. And even in his good book, he said, the man who findeth a wife finds a good thing. So we're the pursuer, right? So that means we've been equipped to be able to do certain things, to lead, to go after her. And so the first thing I would say is you need to reshape your point of view right now, in that you haven't lost your wife. You're getting a second chance to regain your wife. Did you catch that? That's number one. So you went and got her the first time. Here you go. You got a chance to go do it again. Now, here's the second thing. When you went to get her the first time, yeah, you may have been nervous. Yeah, you may have been scared. You know, you may have fumbled over some of your words, but guess what? You still pursued, and you pursued because you were equipped. You were built for rejection. You were built to be able to handle that rejection. So as you're going through these suggestions my wife just gave you, she may reject you. Don't worry about that. Shake it off in the same way that when you asked her for a date and she wasn't feeling you the first time and you said, she doesn't understand. She's going to be my wife. Whatever it was that happened in the beginning. But the point is, put back on that armor, brother, because it's time for you to go get her again. So number one is it's time to pursue. Number two, put on your armor and don't worry about any rejection. Anything she does, anything she says, any way she pushes whatever you do away, any way she rejects you, don't worry about that. Shake it off and keep going. Number three, reason relationships work is because two people come to one another to get their needs met. And so it's what I'm hearing when I read your question was you obviously in some capacity or in several different ways have not been meeting her needs. And so whatever those places were, you need to figure out what that was. And I don't think you have to look too far because I'm sure she probably told you. And so that's where I would say too, to also focus some of that attention so that she can see that not only are you pursuing her, but you're pursuing her in the areas where she wanted you to pursue. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Because again, I'm here because my wife is meeting my needs. She's here because I'm meeting her needs. I didn't come here to say, hey, I'm in this relationship to get my needs met. No, I came in saying, I'm here to meet your needs, baby. And then by default, she then reciprocates. So I'm saying to you, brother, that's the mindset you want to have, is to put yourself in that mindset of I'm pursuing my wife. Rejection doesn't matter. However she pushes it away, she is mine. We are not divorced. According to God's world, we are still married. And woman, you're going to come home with me. That's the attitude you want to have.
Go, baby.
Say that to her, but you want to have that attitude. Like that's how I would, if my wife was in that position, that's how I'll be thinking. She might be like, this guy's crazy. She doesn't even understand how crazy I am. See, they'll call you crazy and then they'll call you genius. All I'm saying, brother, is pursue your wife in the same way you pursued her when you first got her.
Wow, it's so amazing to see and I enjoy your brand of mind. It's just absolutely brilliant. And I needed that. So, all right, that was awesome. Okay, so our next question is a tricky one. Be nice. Okay, honey?
Okay.
Seem like good women primarily attract and date dogs.
Oh, interesting. That question is loaded. Should I go first?
I'm welcome to go, baby, because I can talk to the sisters. Like, listen,
Go for it.
it's very clear. The God revealed to us very early on in this ministry that we are going to attract to the level of our emotional health. So no matter how put together we look on the inside, on the outside, that none of that matters. We are going to attract to the level of who we are emotionally. That's why the past pains, the baggage, all that stuff that's in our past that we won't let die, because we won't let it die, it refuses to allow our future to live. Yep. So simply put, guys, we have got to let our past baggage go. We've got to if you're attracting messy men, if you're attracting and dating dogs, then it's simply because you feel in your mind that you don't deserve something. I'm just, sisters, please understand, I love you, so I will keep it real. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you because I was there. I know I had the same experience. My husband, I mean, I'm sure if you guys join our prayer group, praying for our husbands and our future husbands, you'll hear some of my personal testimonies as well as some of the other ladies' personal testimonies that have actually overcame that cycle of self-abuse that we would subject ourselves to. So we as women, unfortunately, we get to the point to where we really don't feel like we deserve to be with a quality man. And so we will allow our other men, our other past relationships to continue to abuse us and take advantage of us. But yet, because we have good thoughts and good intentions, we think that our good thoughts and our good intentions and our good doings are going to attract that good man. No, you got to get rid of all the messiness. You got to sweep up under your rug, okay, and stop sweeping things underneath the rug in order to really truly attract the type of man that you deserve, because you do deserve it, especially if you're a good woman of God, you know. So that's basically what I have to say about that.
You know, and babe, that's a great point. I'll add to that and say, it's interesting how when we have an experience as human beings, we take that and we formulate it and make it a blanket. Let me say that again. We have an experience. It's a small experience. Imagine it being a ball that you can hold in your hand, but we take it and turn it into a blanket and it covers everything. So when I heard, you know, how come good women attract dogs? If I flip that, what if I said, how come good men attract sluts? Doesn't feel good. And neither is it true. And so, yeah, are there some bad folks out there? Yeah. Are there some bad folks on both sides? Absolutely. But here's the thing you got to get. However you view the world is how the world will reflect itself back to you. And so if you're saying that how come you as a good woman attract dogs, that's why you attract dogs, is because you keep saying that. You keep looking for that. You've already told the universe, you've told God, you've told everything out here in his world that that's what the way you see it. And so it's imperative that we understand that we have to change the way we see things in order for the things we're seeing to change. Right. And so are there good men out here? Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Are there great people out here? Absolutely. Are there bad people out here? Absolutely. But the one you see is based on the one that you are looking for. Now, you may say, well, Mr. Indu, I'm not out here looking for dogs. I beg to differ. If your thermostat is set to 70 degrees, as soon as the temperature outside drops and brings it down to 65, guess what the thermostat does? It brings it back to 70. So what's my point? If your thermostat is set to dog or dogs or bad experiences, as soon as you meet a good man, guess what you do? Your mind starts looking for bad things about him. And so you may have a good man, you may have somebody who is the complete opposite, but because your thinking is tuned into that, then no matter what he does, he's always going to occur for you that way. So number one would be to change your mindset, shift your thinking. All men are not dogs, and all women are not sluts. That's not the case. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it starts with us. How we see the world is how the world reflects itself back to us.
Wow, that was kind of hot. All right, good stuff. And then we totally believe that God can heal any situation. And I promise you, ladies, I am a living testimony. I've gone through it and I've grown through it. That's why I can testify with power as well as conviction that it does not have to be your story. All right, because it's no longer mine. Yes, thank you, Jesus. So, all right, how do you get out of a relationship where the person does everything to keep you at a level where you can't leave because of financial reasons?
So, okay, so the person is not giving you money? Is that what I'm hearing?
It sounds like in this question that the person, the one spouse is more financially secure. You know, one spouse is bringing in all the money, and the other spouse is basically being taken for granted, it sounds like, because they have all the money. Because the other spouse has all the money and they're using the money to control them. So this, young lady, it sounds like she's asking, how do you get out of that type of relationship when when there's financial control there, and inevitably it looks like there's already abuse.
Right. I was about to say it sounds like it's abusive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's still a few things I would want them to clear up for me there, but
Right.
based on what you just mentioned, babe, I would say any form of abuse is unacceptable.
Exactly.
I mean, physical, emotional,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, financial, anything that you can put abuse after means not good. And so, first of all, I would find out, make sure that that is the case. First of all, before we jump out the window, let's make sure we actually understand that this is actually what's going on. I'm not saying that you haven't done that. I'm just saying make sure that you do, because here's the deal. We believe that any relationship can be healed. We really do. And in fact, I saw this picture one day. I think it was a post on Facebook. It was an older couple. They looked like they might have been in their 80s, 70s. And the guy was laying down and he was looking at the sky, and he had his hand behind his head, and his wife was laying on his arm and rubbing his chest. And the caption underneath the post read, "In our day, just because something was broken, we didn't throw it out." And I thought that was so profound, because that's the difference between us today. We talk about being a quick fix society, a microwave society. And so, the opposite side of that would be, as soon as it doesn't work, you discard it, you toss it to the side and try to get something new. So I would say this: before you end it or try to go down that road, make sure that you have exhausted every possibility. Literally give that person a chance, because here's the thing: you all got together at some point because there was something there. There was love there. God brought you to each other's paths in some way. And sometimes along the way, we lose sight of those things and we start abusing each other in different ways. And sometimes we may not even know that we're abusing the other person. So exhaust the possibilities before you go there. It's kind of like beating your child or disciplining your child physically, right? That's the tool of last resort. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say here is, make sure the tool of last resort remains that tool of last resort. Talk about bringing a third party if you think that may help to shed light on the situation. But if you are being abused, you need to leave. That's what I would say. Once you determine that is the case, you need to figure out some way to fix that situation. If the person isn't willing to work with you, then you have to go, because you can't. God didn't allow you to go and join a relationship to end your life. God wants you to be in a relationship to enhance your life. But what I'm saying is, make sure you handle everything first. Exhaust all possibilities. I cannot emphasize that enough, because at Covenant Marriages, we believe in healing. We believe in fixing. We believe in that, hey, even if something is broken, through the help of God, it can be mended.
Wow. Amen. And I definitely want to, babe, I know you would probably be able to think of a better analogy to what I'm about to say, or to the point I want to bring in to this, but we're not together, unfortunately, so I can't, Anyway, so I'm doing my best. So, say for instance, you were given a ticket to go and watch a play, and while you're at that play, you find out that the writer or the creator of that play is sitting right next to you. So you sit there and you're watching it, and you get to a point in the play that, man, I wish they had done it this way, or I really don't understand this part of what they're, of the message that they're looking to convey. Mm-hmm. Now the script writer is right next to you.
Right.
Now you've been given the information. I mean, there's like a label right there on his seat or her seat, and you know who she is, but you refuse to take advantage of it because you just choose not to. Now, I know most of you can think, well, no, just ask the scriptwriter, what exactly were they looking to convey? What was the message? What is it that you were supposed to get out of that? For you to ignore that, and most would call it foolish. So the reason why I'm using that analogy, and I know this is probably a really bad one, but I hope you guys get my point, is because sometimes we have challenges in relationships and we forget that that God has given us a clear channel right to him. And we don't understand that he is the screenwriter, the script writer of our lives.
Right.
And if we just ask him to rewrite our story, then he will. But sometimes we just don't understand how powerful prayer is. I'm going to give you a quick story about myself. You know, the Bible says that we have not because we ask not.
That's
And
right.
constantly, I don't ask a lot because I'm so grateful for what God has already done and what he continues to do in our lives over and over again. And last night I was coming home and coming to my place here in Florida, just leaving my family back in Georgia. And as I'm driving, I'm like, Lord, my body, I'm just so tired. I'm in my last trimester of pregnancy. God, I just need you to just empower me with strength just so that I can do this journey, because I don't have the energy. I'm tired. I want to stay at home. I should probably be on bed rest. Lord, I need you now. The next day, I don't even know how it happened, but guys, I promise you, God just empowered me with strength and energy. I mean, I woke up, I had no breakfast. I did not even get a chance to eat until 2 o'clock, but literally just flying, just feeling amazing. I'm like, whoa, hurting. Oh my gosh, I'm like, wow, all this time I've been suffering with pain and just going through, just being transparent, guys, just keeping it real right now, just letting you know that there is power in prayer. And all this time I'm praying for other things. I'm like, Lord, help this. Oh God, help this person. But not one time did I stop and I pray for my experience. And it wasn't until then that God really answered me. It's when I asked. So when the Bible says we have not because we ask not, there's a message there for us. God he respects our desires and our will to stay stuck in the spaces that we're in. He respects that. And he is not like the enemy. He's not going to possess us with drugs or oppress us with demons, and he's not going to do that. If we ask for his presence, he will come in. So if we ask him for healing according to his will, he will provide those things. But there is so much power in prayer.
Right.
If we're going to him, giving him, showing gratitude and showing appreciation for the things he's already done, because he said, enter into my gates with thanksgiving and into my courts with praise. So if we follow the example of Jesus Christ and how we are to pray, these little things that we suffer from, God will soften our spouse's hearts towards us, and he will give us a spouse of our dreams, and that spouse can be the one that you're married to right now. If not, if you are faithful, he will replace that person and put in that person's space the man that you deserve, or the woman that you deserve. So prayer, guys, pray. I'm telling you, it goes so far. I had to share that little quick testimony because I'm living it now and I feel amazing. So, okay, next question.
Babe, real quick, if you don't mind, I just want to piggyback off something you said. I feel like too sometimes that we miss the mark when a challenge shows up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like God's, like our delivery system is UPS, FedEx, Post Office. I feel like one of God's delivery systems is called problems.
Oh yeah.
and I really mean that. And I feel like he uses it to truly test where we are. And I think the best way that I could put it is we don't fail God's tests. We just keep taking them over and over and over until we pass. And so some people even take them over and over into another lifetime, where they come back and they repeat it again. And so I say that to say this. This is why I mentioned the thing about exhausting the possibilities, because you don't know what God is trying to do here. I mean,
Right.
this young lady who asked this question about abuse, I mean, how strong would the story be if it didn't end with divorce? How many marriages could God use to heal that marriage, how many marriages could God use your marriage to heal if you allow him to heal yours? And so this is why we're saying, hey, listen, before you go down to use that tool of last resort, exhaust these. My wife did a wonderful job in talking about the power of prayer. One of the things we found in our relationship is that when I'm mad, if I'm upset with my wife for something, one of the best ways to soften my spirit, to soften my heart, is for me to pray for her. Now, some of you may not even really get that until you actually do it. You won't really appreciate what I just said to you. So if I'm disturbed, if I'm bothered, if I'm upset at her, one of the best things to soften me is for me to pray for her. I can't pray and be angry at the same time. I try it.
Impossible.
It's like trying to hold a negative and a positive thought simultaneously. You can't. You got to let go of one and grab the other.
Yes.
I'm telling you. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about, look, these problems, God's delivery system, when he uses it in your life, don't think, oh, packages here. Oh, this means divorce. No, that's not what was in the box. What was in the box could be a blessing, but you don't know that until you actually go through it. You don't know that until you use these processes. So, young lady who asked that question, I don't know what your name is. My wife repeated your question, so I didn't even see who you are, but pray for your husband. If he's using money as an abusive tool, pray for him. Try that. It'll soften your spirit. Let God speak to your heart. God put you two together initially, and I know he does not make mistakes. Trust me, I believe that wholeheartedly. So before you go to use any tool of last resort, exhaust these possibilities.
Wow, amazing stuff. Wow. And thank you so much, Robert. I want to say hello to some of our guests. Drea, hello. Doris, how are you? Eric, thank you so much. While we're just saying hello, guys, if you have any other questions, we do have a ton here, but we definitely don't want to ignore our live audience's questions. So please feel free to post your questions, and we'll do our best to address them, as we only have about 10 more minutes left in this program for today. But
I think Eric asked a question last week that I didn't even get to. Eric, if you remember it, go ahead and post it, Eric, so we can get that on here. If you don't remember, maybe you can look at the last week's Q&A. So, but anyway, I know he wanted me to get to that one last week. So,
oh please, we can't miss it today. We can't miss it today. I think how you view the world is how the world will reflect itself to you. Yes, okay. Bam, Doris, Drea, I said hello. Mario, hey Mario. Jamal, Yvonne, Pastor Peoples, excellent movie. Yes, exactly. All right, so what we'll do, I don't see any questions. So, honey, did you see any questions?
No, not yet. I think folks have just been expecting us to keep going with the ones we had.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, guys. So if you haven't, please post them. We want to answer any questions you have, anything. Just throw it at us. Let God use us to bless you. So.
Amen. And when Sylvia said that my husband and I saw a change in our relationship when we began to pray together. Amen. It never fails. God begins to work on your hearts in such a powerful way. So absolutely. So let me see that Eric posted his question yet. I think I can go to one more before we get to his question.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, that'll take too long. Oh, okay. Should your spouse travel alone without you?
That's an interesting question. We've dealt with that one. And I'll say this. I think, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, listen, guys, we're still human beings. You don't want anybody to feel like a prisoner in their own marriage, right? In their own relationship. A relationship should give you more freedom, not enslave you. And so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, you need trust, right? It needs to be trust. There need to be boundaries, right? I mean, if I travel, I've been there, traveling on business trips. My wife just mentioned to you all, she traveled yesterday. She flew down to Florida and she's there now at our tax office. And so anyway, so yeah, you can travel together, but there should be some type of how do I say this? There should be some guidelines, if you will, not necessarily rules. And I don't want to say that because it makes it feel like it's a job or something you forced to do. No, it's something you should want to do anyway. As an example, before she took off, she just texted me. You know, she shouldn't have been texting. She should put her phone away, but she probably got that from me because I do it all the time. But yeah. So she's texting me and she's like, hey, asking me these questions or going back and forth, and then, hey, taking off, and then she's gone. And then, of course, when she got there, she texted me, hey, baby, landed. I was knocked out already, but I saw it the next morning. And so, yeah, it's little things like that. Like, you know, if you travel away from your spouse at night before you go to sleep, reach out to them, you know, connect. In other words, maintain your connection. And that's the key. And I think that's what the key really is, and even if I didn't tell you that, as long as you have a connection, you would do these things naturally. That's right. Coming in the door. If I haven't seen my wife all day and I come in the door, first thing I want to do is give her a big hug and a kiss. Just like my kids. If my kids haven't seen me all day, hey, daddy, it's a connection thing. So if you guys don't have your connection, then it might start to feel like work. It might have to start to feel like a chore. Man, I forgot to call. Oh, she's going to kill me. No, but if you're connected, as soon as you want to call. As soon as you get there, you want to touch them. As soon as before you go to bed, you want to connect. So just maintain your connection.
Yes, yes. All right, absolutely. I agree, baby. It's just that realizing that in every stage of the relationship, there is another level of integrity that each person in the marriage have to rise up to. Mm-hmm. So if you are now in a relationship and one of you have a job that you have to travel outside, you've got, outside of the home, and it's for a significant amount of time, you have got to be intentional about allowing integrity to be present in your marriage. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is just straight out disrespectful. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, come on, we're gonna keep it real. It's just disrespectful for me to go and my husband is with the children and I'm traveling, and for me, knowing that every night I'm kissing him goodnight or whatever, we connect, like my husband said, and I'm not connected, I'm choosing to not connect, that feels suspect. And it leaves your spouse feeling like a space of emptiness, like, wow, just, okay. So it's just being respectful and showing integrity in that level of your relationship. And again, there's this foolishness that goes on that people say, oh, well, that's controlling. Yeah, under the control of God when you keep integrity in your relationship. When you don't, then you're under control of something else. And it's just, let's keep it real. Like, listen, we want to make excuses for bad behavior, and we want to make it okay based on how society views things. But listen, in Covenant Marriages Academy, we're going to tell you the truth. If you are doing that, then you are out of integrity of the vows of your marriage and out of the covenant of your marriage. You are out of integrity. So you need to get back in alignment if you want to maintain harmony and peace and trust in your union. Mm-hmm. And that's just is what it is. Like my husband said, if there is a connection, the connection will dictate that that's what you do. And it won't feel like work because it feels like, oh, I get to talk to my spouse. I mean, this morning I'm ripping and running, but the first thing I did is I looked at my phone to see if my husband got back to me, and he didn't. He dropped his integrity there. But still, we're going to talk about that later, honey, okay?
It's your children's fault.
I know, baby. I know you have a lot going on, but still, that did not stop me. I mean, the first chance I got, I was like, baby, how are you? And, we didn't get a lot of time to talk, but I definitely made that connection, and I sent him some little love notes. And, if I had the space, I would have sent him some naked belly pictures, hey, I'm just keeping it real. But, just keep that connection going. And also, if there has been a loss of trust because of past experiences, then you've got to not be afraid to talk about that. Because I see that a lot too, babe. Like people, they want their spouse to read their minds and just come up with the best thing to do without their input. I mean, I hope that makes sense to you. Yeah. And just being honest, that does not work in a marriage. You've got to be intentional. Like just like you had to state out your vows, what you said you will and will not do in your marriage, and what you commit to and what you will leave behind you. throughout the marriage, it is so important for you to continue to be consistent with that, and to let your spouse know, like, babe, when this happened, I now my trust level for you has dropped. So I need time. I need time to regain your trust. And then the other spouse, on the other hand, needs to respond in a healthy way,
Mhm.
and be and be okay with now giving that spouse, the other spouse, the time that they need to regain that trust. You
Mhm.
understand? I mean, that just makes sense. Like, you need to be okay with that. So responding in a healthy way, like, okay, well, what is it that I can do to make you feel more comfortable? Because I know I messed up. Not being defensive, okay? That's very important. Not being defensive, but confessing your wrongs. I know I messed up, but what can I do to make you feel better? Or what can I do? And then be okay if you're on the other side of that. If you're the one that were offended in that relationship with travel or whatever it was, then be okay with telling your spouse exactly what it's going to take to make you happy. Babe,
Mhm.
would you agree with that?
Absolutely. In fact, I don't think I've ever said this in this way before, but there is a reset button in every, it's one reset button in every relationship. One reset button, and it consists of 3 words, and you can reset any situation.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am sorry. I
Yeah.
am sorry. You can reset any situation. Of course, you need to mean it. It needs to be sincere. It needs to come from your heart. You don't just want to say it just so you can hit the reset button and reset and not really care. You have to care. But then
Yeah.
once you've said those words to your spouse, I'm telling you, because what happens is you're in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or a long-term relationship, and you guys know each other so much and so well, and a lot of times we take each other for granted and don't even realize.
Mm-hmm.
And then pride sets in, and ego, and all this other nonsense. All
Yeah.
human qualities that we all gravitate to at our worst. If you say those 3 words, I am sorry, you can reset any situation. It has to be sincere.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Great response, babe.
Thank
All
you,
right.
honey.
Oh, we have a 2-part question. They're tag teaming here, okay, honey? So
You
now,
see Eric's?
because of time,
You see
but
Eric's?
yeah, I see Eric. It's Eric and Georgiana, so I'm going to ask them together. All right.
Okay.
So when you're very experienced in dating, and you come across the woman who fits everything you desire in a wife, how do you determine when marriage is next? When is too soon? When is too late? Any such thing as the right time? And Georgiana's question, to actually add to that, would be, she said, great question, Eric. To add to that, especially when one is in their 30s or even a bit older, do you think one should take a year to be friends before courting and then marriage? So, I'm sorry. So then it ends up being like 2 years.
Mhm.
I've just seen folks not take time to learn about one another and then jump into marriage, and then it's over.
Right.
Okay. So does that make sense, babe?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I totally get it. Great questions, by the way. Um, so here's what I would say. I'll answer Eric's part first, and I'll touch on Georgie's question right after. And then, babe, I'll turn it to you, honey. So Eric, here's what I would start off by saying. Most people mix up marriage. Well, let me step back. Marriage is ultimately the destination. Let's say that. Marriage is ultimately the destination. In other words, a man and a woman shouldn't get together just to have sex. A man and a woman shouldn't get together just so they can keep each other company. Marriage is the ultimate destination. That's ultimately where you want to go. Okay, so it's just like I gave the analogy a couple weeks back. You don't get dressed, get in the car, looking good, smelling good, and then try to figure out where you're going. That's backwards. You can sit in the car forever, or you might end up somewhere else. But you figure out where you want to go, then it determines how you dress. It determines how you now show up, right? So marriage is the ultimate destination that you put in your relationship GPS. That's one. Second thing I'll say to you, Eric, is marriage, and a lot of people mix this up. Marriage is not a man and woman thing. Marriage is a God thing. Hopefully you're getting this. And so if that's the case, then throughout the courting process, you should be seeking God's influence and God's wisdom in that journey. This is where a lot of people make mistakes. And it kind of starts to lead me into Georgiana's question now. A lot of people make mistakes on this part because, first of all, they didn't go into the relationship with the GPS set to marriage. They went into the relationship with the GPS set on sex, the GPS set on, keeping company, or I'm tired of people asking me why I'm single. There's always some other reason most people get into the relationship for, but the GPS should be set on marriage. And so when I say it's a God thing, my wife dropped. Hopefully she'll come back on here in a moment. When I say it's a God thing, what I'm referring to, I hope you guys can hear me okay. Somebody type in the comments, please, and tell me if you can hear me well, if I'm coming through clearly. Hopefully I am, because I'm seeing some challenges here. So when I say it's a God thing, what I'm referring to is that you should seek God's input. Listen, he's the creator of marriages. God created that covenant. So you should always talk to the manufacturer whenever you go to use the merchandise. So now let me move on to Georgiana's question about marriage and the courting side and the 2-year piece that she mentioned. Baby, if you can hear me, you're no longer on. So you might want to click back on the link and join back into the conversation here. But yes, Georgie, to answer your part of the question, I believe that it shouldn't be 2 years and all that. There's no set time, right? Some people it took 2 years, some people it took 5 years, some people it took 5 months. So there's no set time. That's God takes care of that part. But again, as long as you've got your sights set on where you want to go, your journey will, in terms of how fast or how slow you get there, is based on how you guys are traveling and how much you're allowing God to direct the GPS, if you will. So there shouldn't be a year of dating and then a year of courting. All of it is courting. You don't want to separate and get so anal about it. All of it is courting. From the moment you express interest, they accept interest, they express interest. From that moment forward, you both are courting. So in my opinion, that's the whole point of getting into any relationship. In fact, just so you guys know, we teach our children that because some people say, oh, they're going to have their boyfriend, and we don't use that with our children. No, sir. We teach our children that you're going to get married. There is no boyfriend, girlfriend. There is marriage. So you're courting and then you're married. It's literally that simple. All right. So you're courting and then you get married. So hopefully that answers your question, Eric and Georgiana. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to make sure that my her phone died. Oh, wow. Thanks, Georgie. Appreciate that. All right. Well, I guess I'll just I'll finish this part up on my own. I thought she plugged it up, but no worries, y'all. So let me go ahead and so hopefully that answered your question, both Eric and Georgie. Let me see if you guys had any other question in here before we wrap up for tonight's live. Just want to make sure we give a chance to all the questions. I don't see any others. Okay. Thank you for the love, y'all. I see the likes on that answer. All right. I don't see any other questions. I think we are good. Intentional dating. Oh, I see Jessica said intentional dating. We are teaching our kids this. Great info. Yeah, absolutely, Jess. We don't teach about boyfriend and girlfriend. We teach about husband and wife. So there is that God didn't create boyfriend and girlfriend. God created marriages, right? He created Adam and Eve and he created marriages. All that stuff in between we added. And a lot of us don't see that, and it's crazy how this world shapes our view and we believe it's our own thought, right? My mentor used to say all the time, if you ask most people what they were thinking, they would be speechless because most people don't have original thoughts anymore. Everything that most people think that they think is their thought is a seed that was planted by a commercial, by some junk television show. In other words, somebody else is in their head and they believe that's their own thought. But last time I checked, if you're looking God's book, I don't see anywhere about boyfriends. I don't see anywhere about girlfriends, but I do see Adam and Eve and I do see marriage. And so that's what we teach our children. Why? Because as soon as they express interest in somebody of the opposite sex, that's exactly where that's to go. It's to take you towards a marriage relationship. So I think that's a great place for us to possibly end tonight's live. Magda, I see you on here late again. Can't wait to view afterwards. Yeah, Magda, you got to check this one out. Some good questions that were on here. And all right, you guys. Well, hey, listen, champions, we love you guys. We really do. I apologize that my wife's phone died. I wish he could have been on here to close this out with me, but it's quite all right. We'll work through these challenges and continue to do God's work. We'll be back on here next Tuesday. We're considering keeping the Q&A Tuesdays going because a lot of folks have been giving us some tremendous feedback in terms of how this is impacting them. The answers are changing how they're viewing their relationships and how they view even old relationships that they may have messed up on. And now they can look back and say, man, if I had only known that answer, I would have done things differently. So prayerfully, this information is blessing your life. I hope that you guys don't just tune in and be entertained. I really pray that you take this content and apply it to your life. That's the whole point, you guys. We're giving it to you straight from our heart. We're allowing God to lead us. And so if you have any other questions for us and you want to give it to us ahead of time, or if you have a suggestion on a direction you would like us to take our Relationship Tuesdays, please share with us. We are wide open. We're not doing this to be famous. We're doing this to help you all to have an amazing marriage if you're not yet, and to have an amazing marriage if you are already married. So Obina and Belinda Indu from Covenant Marriage Academy, where we believe that 100% of marriages can work when done God's way. God bless you all. And if nobody told you we love you, there's nothing you can do about it. See you next Tuesday at 6:30 for the Relationship Tuesday. Bye-bye now.